Hi, hey Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Yes, she's right here behind me. I'm right by my windows behind my back, and she's up there just kind of playing and enjoying herself. But what we're here about is the handle that I put on my shopping cart, my shop vac. I told you I was going to mount one on my bench, so that's what I've done here. I have this one that I've mounted right on my bench, and I've been playing with it, trying to think of things that now that I have it, what do I do with it? And it just keeps coming to me, other things that I think I might be able to do with this. This is actually going to be a very good idea to have on a workbench. Let me show you some of my thoughts, and then you can decide whether or not this is worth it to you. And at the end, I'll go over you real quick as to exactly what this is, and that if you want something like this, I'll show you where you can get something like this at a pretty reasonable price to make your own. If you don't have the welder and the pipe and all that, and you want to have a couple of these, it's not that hard to actually just buy them if you want. And I'll go over that in a minute. So let's talk about what this thing can do now. Obviously, this can adjust and go any size, any height I want and adjust it. I can take my Xylus vise and mount it on here. You saw me do that. But that's just the beginning of what I can do with this. I also have this vise, which is my little 3-inch jeweler vise. And guess what? This thing looks like it mounts on there pretty well too. So I just have to take it and there we are. Now it's mounted. So it's pretty easy to mount this one. And what I like about this, I can turn it around and face the vise away from me, and now I have my little anvil area here that's right here at me, and again, I can adjust the height wherever I want, so I can actually put more than just the one vise on here. I'm starting to find out. If you have any kind of vise that has this clamping capability on this pipe here, it seems to be the right size for most of those. I have a couple other vices that I clamped on here, but it'd be easy to adapt to put things on here. So what else can you do with it besides attaching vices? Well, let's take a piece of wood like this. I'm going to take a piece of double-sided sandpaper. I use that for holding power. If you want to know what I'm talking about there, you got to go look at my video that says holding power from last year. And I'll put that there to hold it down and take my wedge and set it there, drop that down on there, and then just tighten this down. Then I can take my hammer and give that a couple of whacks. Guess what? I'm now using this like a hold fast. And if I want to loosen it and move it, I just loosen my handle up, put it where I want it, tighten the handle down, give it a couple of whacks, so I can move this thing with ease if I want. I can use just the end of it out here, or I can turn it and put something in this way if I want and put two of them in there. Then I can put two wedges in here. So there's a lot of versatile capability, excuse me, using this as a hold fast. What else can you do with it? Well, what if instead of the bar, what if I take and I actually mount a piece of, this is just 2 pieces of MDF veneered that are glued together, and then I bolted it with some carriage bolts through it. So now guess what? Now I have a nice little workbench here to work off of. And I can clamp to it if I want. I can probably drill some dog holes in here. Or if I want, I can drop it down and have it here like a little extension for my tools if I want to kind of keep them out of the way. So I can make a little mini workbench here using this too. In fact, talking about mini workbenches, why can't I take, instead of mounting this on here, why can't I take that mini workbench right there, which is on legs, and it goes into dog holes to hold it in place? What if I took and mounted a bracket on there instead that I could take and mount that right on here? And like with just these 2 bolts here, if I wanted to, I can just this quick and easy take this off and mount something else, including that mini workbench. So it's just as easy to take this off, and I can custom make any kind of bench top that I want and mount it on here. And all I did to make this is I drilled a couple of holes so that they fit into the pre-drilled holes on my bar, and I put a groove down the middle so that it would fit onto the roundness of that bar and set all the way down, and that gives me a pretty stable. And when I take and put it on there and then just put the knobs on there, it only takes a couple of seconds to actually, quicker if you don't drop. And just like that, I can now tighten this down. And I have a nice little workbench that I can use with a ledge all the way around, so I can clamp to it if I want to clamp something down on it to do something on here. And again, it's nice and adjustable, and it can be turned. So I got this little mini table now that I can use. And again, I can mount my vices directly onto this also. So I might even, before I'm done, end up putting something like this on here, because I can still use this as a holdfast even like this, but it's only takes a second or two to loosen these up and take this back off. And just like that, I can mount another jig or something on here that I would want. So this gives me a lot of capabilities at my workbench to have one of these. I like it a lot. So I think maybe this is going to become a permanent attachment to my workbench. But I'm still thinking about one other thing. Because besides this bar here, I also have a couple other bars here. This one that I can also use. It's a shorter bar here, and I can use something like this in here instead. But I also was thinking that if I take bars like this, and in between my regular dog holes already, every other dog hole, so that would be 8 inches apart, I drill a hole big enough for this to fit through, right here on the ledge, and then I can have this right here on my workbench to use as a hold fast and tighten down. I can put a set screw bolt through here with an insert to lock this down anytime I want, and then I can move it, have 2 of them, and move them back and forth so I can actually have 2 of them to do something. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, is actually taking just this part and mounting holes so I can take this and just hang it here, and when I need it I can take it out, drop it in, spin the lock nut down and lock this down in place here at whatever height I want in whatever direction. So these will actually going to be mounted directly on here into a secondary bench dug hole just dedicated for these. And I think that's going to be my best solution. And then I can put this anywhere I want. I just have to drill another hole wherever I think I may want to mount these. So then I can definitely use these for my mini workbench, especially if I put 2 of them in here. This way, I can make that so that bench can mount on this instantly and lock down, and then adjust it to whatever height, or even put it at an angle if that's what I want to do. So these are going to be very cool. Anyway, the T-bar is going to work out real well on your workbench if you want to go this route. Yep. And she just stands by me all the time. I have to figure out she wants something. And I'm not sure what it is. There we go. She wants another rawhide. Here. There you go. I guess not. Anyway. So I think this is going to work out. So let's talk about real quick. What is this? Anybody know what this is? Have you ever seen this? Well, I've talked about these a little bit before. Like I said, I had sawhorses that I made using these. Basically, they come in a tripod like this. This is a small one. This one in particular is based on a 32 to 44 inch range of height, I believe, something like that. You can get them in all different sizes, different size bars, the width of the bar. And what these are, these tripods, they're used with skate wheel conveyors. If you know anything about the material handling industry, go out there and, well, do a search on Google or even on eBay probably for tripod skate wheel or tripod conveyor stand. And that's what this is, a tripod stand for a conveyor. It just sits on here and you adjust the height at one end or the other so that you can put a tip on that conveyor so when you put your boxes on it, they roll down. They use these a lot like in grocery stores. When they get a big truck in with a whole bunch of supplies, they can roll these out, set them up real quick in just a couple of minutes, going from the truck to where they got to unload and put it on the stock shelves and have this trail of conveyors. It's a great little setup, but you have to know a little bit about the material handling industry to know what this is about. But that's where I find these. It's basically heavy gauge tube in a tube with a third tube here. This is like a 1-inch tube. This is like an 1.25 inch tube. And this one is like an 1.5 inch tube. If you want to know their exact measurements to build your own, let me know and I'll take some quick measurements for you. But if you go out to the material handling, you can probably find it just like this and then take and cut the legs off it and you have this same shaft here that this piece is. And like I said, this one I welded up here with plates so I could just mount it vertically on something. And this one is designed just to sit on the floor. But that's basically what it is. Tripod conveyor stand. So if you have any questions about this thing and you know where it comes from, that's it in a nutshell. You can make your own if you want. They're not that hard to make. If you do welding, you can get a hold of pipe, but you don't really have to do that if you don't want. You can just buy these and then cut the legs off. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. I'm really excited about taking these and start drilling some holes and actually mounting these right on my workbench. And then I'm going to try to convert my mini table to be able to mount on these instead of mounting where it is now. And I think that'll really be very nice. That'll make a really nice mini bench then with two of these. So I can actually take that mini bench and adjust the height of it. That'll be awesome. So wait and see when I get that done, get that adapted to go on these, and I have them mounted on my bench. I'll show that all to you when I'm done. So unless you beat me to it first, and then you'll see it firsthand if you decide to try to do this. So if you have any questions about it, you know, don't be afraid to ask. Leave comments, any ideas. And not only would I love to hear it, but I suspect that some of the people that watch my videos would love to read what you have to say too. So don't be afraid to leave your ideas. If you like this video, say so. Most importantly though, come back again because, quite frankly, we're nowhere near done. Thanks, and we'll see you again very soon.